I'm Brian Thompson from Commerce Bank. We're proud to be the presenting sponsor of this Worcester Regional Research Bureau's Forum on Charter TV3. At Commerce Bank, we feel we are an important part of the communities we serve, and sponsoring quality programming is one of the ways we show our support. Stop into any of our convenient offices. I invite you to learn more about Commerce Bank and how we can help you achieve your financial goals.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for coming at this early hour. My name is Roberta SCHAEFER, and I'm the president of the Research Bureau, and we would really like to express our gratitude to the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce for co-presenting today's event with us. And to bring greetings from the Business Expo and the Chamber, please welcome Tim Murray, the president and CEO of the Chamber.
Thank you, Roberta, and on behalf of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce, we want to welcome you to the Central Mass Business Expo, and we're excited to be able to kick off the day with the Worcester Regional Research Bureau. And I know, like a lot of people, we want to, I personally, and I think like everyone in the room, want to thank Roberta for her service to the Research Bureau. She's still going to be around, which is a good thing. Her passion and commitment to important public policy issues is something I think we all deeply admire, but it's nice to be able to work with her in this last 3 or 4 months. But today, incredibly important issue. When you look at the numbers, about 17%, 16.9, I think Mr. Healy informed me several months ago, of the employee base in Central Mass in manufacturing, and new opportunities that we need to take advantage of. And at the Chamber, with Friday being National Manufacturing Day, we hope to play our part and make some announcements on how we can support and assist our manufacturing community going forward. So thank you, and to Roberta and her team, thanks for all your good work in putting this morning together.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you very much for your very kind words. Today's program is part of the Research Bureau's Francis Harrington Forums on Municipal Government. The Research Bureau sponsors for today's forum are Commerce Bank, Polar Beverages, and Rand Whitney Container. And these are, of course, in addition to all the sponsors for the Business Expo. And there are many, and that's a great tribute to the Chamber. The Research Bureau also wishes to express its appreciation to the Telegram and Gazette for advertising today's event. And we hope that you'll take the opportunity to visit the Research Bureau's website at WRRB.org, where you can read Research Bureau announcements, reports, and highlights of lots of events, including this event will be on our website in the form of a video. We also wanted to mention that this event is part of a two-part presentation this afternoon at Assumption College. We're doing part 2, which will have 4 representatives of different manufacturing companies in the area to talk to students and faculty, but everybody is welcome, about careers in advanced manufacturing today and opportunities. So we're trying to link the companies with the talent that's going through the colleges here in the city to inform them of the kinds of opportunities that might be available to them after they graduate. And it's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. GAIL CARBERRY, who is eminently qualified to serve as the moderator of the discussion about preparing workers for advanced manufacturing. Since her appointment as president of QUINSIGAMOND Community College in 2006, the college has expanded enrollment, widened geographic reach, and enhanced responsiveness to community and regional workforce needs. It has developed new curricula, including almost a dozen new associate degree and certificate programs to meet workforce needs. And it's widened the transfer potential for graduates through a host of new articulations with four-year colleges. Dr. Carberry's vision has led to the creation of a branch campus in Southbridge, a plan to open a health and workforce development campus in downtown Worcester, and the rapid advancement of online educational programs now serving almost 2,500 students each semester. Through an NSF grant that was awarded to Quinsig in 2007, the college partnered with WPI, the Worcester Technical High School, MassMep, the Workforce Investment Board, and local manufacturers to create a unique outreach model for attracting young people to manufacturing careers. And this is now a model that has been embraced statewide. So without further ado, please let me introduce to you President Gail CARBERRY from Quinsigamond Community College.
Thank you, Roberta. I'm gratified to see this room full because this is such an important topic, especially for the Worcester region. Manufacturing is the history of the economy of Worcester. My dad retired from Morgan Construction Company. My uncles were Norton men. I will say that manufacturing has always been conversation at the table in my home throughout my childhood. Manufacturing today accounts still for a very significant portion of the economy of the United States and the economy of Massachusetts and our region as a whole. Today we have eminently qualified people who will speak to us in more specific terms about what it means to be manufacturing and training for manufacturing here in our great community. I will say that I am not alone in speaking of these issues. On my own campus on Friday, on Manufacturing Day, we are going to celebrate manufacturing. We have added yet one more manufacturer to our teaching workforce this year. And so we are preparing to step up even further in terms of our training with partners to advance the manufacturing agenda here in the Worcester area. Manufacturing is very broad. In the old days, you know, it used to be getting in there, standing on the assembly line in maybe a hot factory, producing product after product after product off an assembly line. Today, it is precision manufacturing. I'm very proud of Quinsigamond's curriculum. Our engineering program transfers seamlessly to WPI, to University of Massachusetts, and to other fine schools. The coordinator of our engineering program always is proud to say that when it comes to the Society of Manufacturing Engineering, very few, in fact he tells me only one, community college is listed in between Princeton and Rensselaer, and that is Quinsigamond Community College. We take it seriously. So as we move forward, let's get into discussion with some of our very talented panelists. Sorry about that, I'm out of order. Our first speaker today is Dr. Ralph LAMBALOT. Ralph is the Vice President of Biologic Development and Manufacturing Launch. Dr. LAMBALOT is responsible for biologic development and manufacturing launch at ABBVIE Operations Division and drives the development and manufacture of biologic drug substances and intermediate in support of ABBVIE's commercial, clinical, contract manufacturing product portfolios. He has an enormous job in a very important industry that supports our region and the Commonwealth. Dr. LAMBALOT joined ABBVIE, formerly known as Abbott, in March of 2007 as Director of Biologic Manufacturing and Program Management. Dr. LAMBALOT began his career at the BASF Research Center in 1996 as a senior scientist in purification process development. In 1999, he joined Pfizer Research Technology Center in Cambridge, Mass., where he held a variety of research positions. Dr. LAMBALOT earned his BA in chemistry from Cornell University in 1987 and his PhD in bioorganic chemistry from Brown University. He completed an NIH postdoctoral fellowship in mechanistic enzymology. Mechanistic enzymology. Believe it or not, I practiced this morning. The coffee has yet to kick in. at Harvard Medical School in 1996. Ralph?
Good morning, everyone. Gail, I really enjoyed your introduction, and it reminded me of my own childhood growing up. I'm originally from New Bedford, Massachusetts, and my father worked 35 years at Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company as a cure man. And a cure man is someone who runs a rubber tire press. He was making rubber components. And oftentimes he'd work overtime, work double shifts, and I can recall him coming home after double shifts in the heat of the summer with curing powder on him. It's sweaty, it's smelly, and no doubt a couple of pounds lighter than when he went in the morning. Very different working conditions than the precision manufacturing that Gail made note of that we do today. At our plant over in ABBVIE, people don bunny suits, white caps, gloves, booties, and enter into a near sterile environment for doing their work. Refrigerated, cool, very comfortable, not a lot of exposure to the outdoors and to the sun, but very, very different from the type of work that was done at my father's shop in Goodyear. So I'm just curious to know, by a show of hands, how many people are familiar with ABBVIE? And don't raise your hand to be polite, be honest. All right? So it's about a quarter of the group, quarter to a third, I would say. So I want to spend a little time orienting you to our history here in Worcester by taking a look at the past, what we do today, and what lies ahead for us in the future. And because I have a tendency to ramble, just give me a nudge when I get through 10 minutes, because we are on a clock. So it was back in 1989 that BASF, German chemical company, decided to make an investment in biotechnology. They had no experience in biotech, but they had acquired a pharmaceutical company, Knoll Pharma, that was a pharma division, and they had acquired Boots pharmacies over in England. So they had a growing presence in pharmaceuticals and saw this emerging technology, biotechnology, and knew that it was something that the company should be involved in. They sent a small delegation over to Cambridge, Massachusetts, to take a look around, get an understanding of the lay of the land for this new technology and how they might be able to embark in a venture in biotech. From that small group of delegates, they identified space here in Worcester as a prime location for locating a biotechnology discovery, development, and manufacturing center. The impetus for that was an investment that Governor Dukakis had made some years earlier in a biotech research park over there on Plantation Street, directly across from the new UMass Medical School. So all the conditions seemed bright, and certainly there was a lot of attraction in coming out to the west in this sort of greenfield location on a beautiful hill looking east toward Boston. And so they broke ground, and in 1993 opened the doors and commissioned the site and became fully operational. So our roots are with a chemical company, BASF, looking to diversify into an emerging technology. And in that span of time since then, this group of scientists that were hired by these German delegates discovered and developed a new drug. It's called an anti-TNF monoclonal antibody. It's now marketed as Humira. And it's used to treat rheumatoid arthritis. That's its primary indication, but it's now approved for about 11 different indications. This one drug is responsible for about half of AbbVie's sales. We're an $18 billion company in sales, and it's now about $9.5 billion a year in sales. It's a discovery that happened right here in Worcester. I think it's a little appreciated fact, but something to certainly be proud about and to tout. So that was those were our early days, and as this drug was developing, a U.S.-based pharma company, Abbott Laboratories, took an interest in the work that BASF BioResearch was doing. And they acquired this pharmaceutical venture of BASF and acquired all of the rights to Humira and we became part of Abbott Laboratories. Within Abbott, we were designated as the Biologics Center of Excellence for the discovery, development, and launch of biologics drugs. All of the initial manufacturing for Humira happened right there on the hill on Plantation Street. And from there, we began supporting the U.S. markets and the international markets as we built a new facility in Barceloneta, Puerto Rico. And that trend of manufacturing moving out to other areas is a trend certainly that we're familiar with in other industries, but it's also a reflection of an ongoing trend within the pharmaceutical industry. Puerto Rico is home to a lot of pharmaceutical manufacturing, but now we're seeing other countries get involved. Korea, China, certainly getting involved in biologics, looking at this new class of biosimilar compounds that we'll see coming through the pipelines in the coming years. In addition, countries like Ireland and Singapore have promoted their manufacturing regions with some significant tax advantages. So as pharmaceutical companies grow globally in nature and they're serving the world population, they're looking at strategic places for placing their manufacturing. So we now on Plantation Street are more of a launch facility than we are a manufacturing facility. We have 5 different manufacturing trains. We manufacture all of the clinical supply for ABBVIE, and I'll come back to why we're now ABBVIE and no longer Abbott. And from this site, we will launch the future products for the company. In addition to that, we do a fair amount of contract manufacturing for other companies that look to rely on our expertise in the development of their own drugs. And since the launch of Humira, we have also gotten approved for the commercial manufacture of 2 other drugs. One is Recothrom, that is for a company called Zymogenetics out in the Seattle area. They are now owned by Bristol Myers Squibb. And we also now manufacture a key intermediate for Adcetris, which is one of the first of a new class of monoclonal antibody-based therapeutics called antibody-drug conjugates. It's a technology that links it's actually a potent molecule that in itself, if you gave it to the body, would have toxic side effects. But when you link it to a very highly specific and potent monoclonal antibody, it targets the tissue where it needs to act, and it delivers a very small dose of drug right to the point of impact and obviates all of the other potential toxic side effects. So that drug is from Seattle Genetics, also out in the Seattle area, and we have other clients that we're working with right here in the Massachusetts area, primarily in Cambridge, that we support the manufacturing for. So about 2 years ago, Abbott, recognizing that they had become a very highly diversified company with businesses spanning biotechnology, pharmaceuticals, cardiovascular, diabetes care, nutrition, diagnostics, a whole panoply of different technologies, they also recognized they had very different business strategies across that spectrum. And one of them, the pharmaceutical division, was found to be in a more mature position with not as steep a growth trajectory in, say, emerging countries as the other parts of the business, and to unlock value within the company, the CEO and the board decided to split the company into 2. And hence we are now ABBVIE, so the ABB from Abbott Laboratories, and I like to think of the V as representing the word for life, and it's sort of life after Abbott Laboratories. So that's a good way for you to remember, and the pronunciation is ABBVIE, so we put a little emphasis on that V for life. So today, as I mentioned, we still do a lot of manufacturing, a lot of contract manufacturing, and as we look ahead to the future, we'll certainly continue to do that, but I made reference to a couple of trends, both with the location of manufacturing globally and also new technologies coming out in biotech. And these trends are going to drive a lot of what we do here in Worcester. It's doubtful that we will grow to be a much larger commercial manufacturing enterprise right here. This area is known for innovation, for discovery, for new ideas. And when we look ahead to the future, this is an area that's not only going to ask, what does the future need from us, or what is the future asking of us? But I think we need to turn the question around a bit as well and ask ourselves, what do we need from the future? What new technologies to meet unmet needs, both for our patients, for our other industries that we serve? And I think it's the brilliant minds that come from the local universities. It only takes one brilliant mind with one brilliant idea to turn an industry upside down. It's a very fertile ground with all the students that come through this area for fostering and nurturing that kind of thinking. We need to certainly leverage that. We need to leverage the bread and butter of what it is we do today. So a lot of the skills for manufacturing and a lot of the skills for the current discovery work that we do. We've got to think very actively about what is it that we need. We need of the future, we need of tomorrow to drive our technologies. Well, let's start equipping our students to think in those terms. So I think that came in at 9 minutes.
Our second speaker this morning is Nicholas C. Smith. Nick Smith is currently president of Rand Whitney Container with headquarters here in Worcester, Mass. Nick joined Rand Whitney 14 years ago, following his graduation in 1999 from Harvard Business School, where he received his MBA. While at Rand Whitney, Nick has served in business development roles and served as the chief operating officer for 5 years before becoming the company's president. Prior to working at Rand Whitney, Mr. Smith had roles in operations, strategy, and business development with Rayonier Corporation from 1992 until 1997. Nick served in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, both in domestic and overseas assignments, following graduation from college, where he earned a BA degree in physics from Presbyterian College and a BS degree in mechanical engineering from Clemson University. Nick?
Hello, my name's Nick Smith, and as I was sitting listening to that, I realized I forgot everything related to physics and life sciences, and I'm in the packaging industry, which has been a pretty amazing ride. Today I was going to quickly walk through Rand Whitney, our organization, and some of the challenges facing us, and I'll try to also keep it at 10 minutes. But when I was walking out the door this morning, my kids told me to not talk as fast as I normally do, so I'll try to do that as well. My name's Nick Smith, Rand Whitney Container. It's a packaging company. We're part of the Kraft Group, so from a financial perspective, can't really go into a lot of details. We're owned by the Kraft family, so I like to say we're a little bit of the less glamorous segment of their portfolio. So it's, but it's pretty significant. It's a few billion in sales. I run all the converting operations. We've also got 3 paper mills, and then there's a fairly large trading segment called International Forest Products that by volume is about the 20th largest exporter in the U.S. of any public or private company. So I think they've exported about 120,000 containers last year. It's a fairly substantial company. So it's paper and packaging. And our challenge, as we go through it, we're in protective packaging, it's displays, it's really anything related to packaging. And our challenge over the last 10, 15 years has been evolving to the business model around us. Where in the Northeast, there's just been massive contraction of our customers. I'm talking to Jack. Lego was one of our largest customers 10, 15 years ago. And as they wound down their operations in Western Mass, we had to figure out how to support them in Mexico, which we do today. Gillette was one of our largest customers 8, 10 years ago for displays. And once they were purchased by P&G, very quickly we had to figure out how to adapt. So in our industry, when I came on board 14 years ago, it's because I met Robert and Jonathan, and I was excited about working for them. Really didn't understand anything about this industry. And I think in general, manufacturing in the entire country is a challenge, and specifically the Northeast. I mean, for anybody acquiring companies, the last place you're going to probably want to keep a manufacturing because of a cost and a distribution perspective is going to be in the Northeast. So what we've had to adapt to is our customers changing, and I'll walk you through some of the things that we're doing and some of the things that I think whether it's Central Mass or Massachusetts can also do to enable us to be more competitive. 15 years ago, Ethan Allen, we supported 810 furniture companies up in the Northeast, the plastic companies, the consumer durables. I was going to reference a lot of the different names, but they're all gone today. So for us, we directed our focus towards medical device companies, high-tech, life sciences. Polar is one of our larger customers, so we're still going to support the food companies. But in the Northeast, we're the largest packaging company, and from a growth perspective, we've got the economies of scale. We have 4 facilities between Westboro and Worcester, about 400 employees, and our biggest challenge is really tied to the space piece of it, where we need multi-100,000 square foot facilities. The workforce is ideal for Central Mass. From an energy perspective, for our paper mills, that's something that's either going to give you an advantage or a disadvantage. In our world, we consume quite a bit of energy, but it's not a differentiator. I asked Roberta, yesterday, the mill rate in Worcester. I mean, for us, those types of things aren't really, they aren't something we're going to focus on. A lot of the valuations in Worcester are a little less than closer to Boston, so the mill rate becomes, kind of a nominal aspect that really doesn't become a requirement. So for us, it's about space. We've been looking for 8 years now for a large, and I saw Bob Gibson here, where we've looked at some buildings up in Devens. We made a fairly substantial investment 2-3 years ago in a greenfield facility in Devens. It's doing remarkably well today. We've looked at, with Mike O'Brien and some of the other members of the Worcester team, we've looked at various options in Worcester to pull together a 300,000-400,000 square foot facility where we can get economies of scale, and that's probably been our #1 challenge. We definitely recognize that as the health care benefits escalate, we've got to focus on what we can control. So we've made significant investments in capital, and some of the current plans, whether it's our 8 Grand Street facility, our Grove Street facility, we've got plans moving forward to continue to make significant investments. Because the bottom line is we're at a disadvantage on a lot of fronts from a freight perspective. We've got a shrinking market when it comes to the customer side of it. We've got to be able to reach further down in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, where they've kind of got an embedded competitive advantage. But we've been able to do extremely well. And for us, the Central Mass is tied to the workforce. We get access to the engineers, we get access to the employees. I think we can do a better job of coordinating with some of the local schools and university as far as developing that pipeline coming in. I think our biggest frustration has been on the facility side. The one analogy I give everybody is in our organization, we've got to focus on what we can control. And the football analogy is, Belichick can't point to the weather for poor performance or poor execution. Your competitors are operating in the same environment. So I think the reason we've been able to do extremely well, this is going to be a record growth year by far. It's going to be a record cash flow year for us by far. We're out there looking at a lot of acquisitions. We acquired a company last year in Connecticut. We acquired one this year in North Carolina. Our expectation is we're going to close on 2 more companies we're going to buy here in the Northeast in the next 3-4 months. And we're also looking at a fairly substantial acquisition that would encompass 7-8 facilities in the Southeast as well. And the reason we're able to do all those things is because the core base of business, which is here in the Northeast, is doing extremely well. We believe, despite the challenges that I've mentioned, we've got a phenomenal advantage here in the Northeast. We're growing, a lot of our competitors aren't. I could go through the list of companies that have shut down in the Northeast, but what we're seeing, the broader economy is not doing any of us any favors, but for the strong, if you've got an awesome balance sheet, if you've got an aggressive, progressive business model, what we're finding is a lot of the smaller companies that don't have the scale to be competitive in our industry are coming to us and are realistic as far as the valuation side of it. And then if the weaker big players, in many cases, are deciding to exit the market. So what we're finding in the Northeast, the Midwest, and the Southeast, and frankly the 2 paper mills we bought in the West Coast last year, were a great opportunity for us to grow as well. So there's an amazing number of challenges for all of us. I think the broader economy not doing us any favors is part of it, but for us, we aren't going to focus on that. And we've got to redivert our business model. So we aren't doing displays for Gillette anymore. We aren't selling boxes and packaging to Lego anymore. So every year, we're hoping there's less and less bad news. Obviously, a growth new company a few years ago was Evergreen Solar. And I think that's a wake-up call for everybody about how fast from the manufacturing perspective, the business model can change. 10 years ago, companies would put together 3 to 5 year business plans, and there's a lot of outsourcing for our customers where we can sell somebody and literally in 3 months they can decide to outsource to a contract manufacturer in Mexico or move it overseas. So for us, what we found is our customers have their planning horizon has shrunk dramatically. In order for us to adapt to that, our planning horizon has shrunk dramatically. And as an organization that's extremely flat, I work for Jonathan Kraft, and we're able to make decisions, whether it's acquisitions, whether it's buildings, whether it's equipment. Literally in a span of a few days, we can react based on trying to seek or pursue an opportunity. And I think in Worcester and Central Mass, this is a core footprint for us. And you know, what we can't do, I mean, we still got the land in Boylston. That was going to be a $50 million project for us. We decided that wasn't necessarily the best path forward 5-6 years ago. We still have the land that may still be an option at some point. So our expectation is we're going to continue to grow our position in the Northeast, but from a growth perspective, I think we've got to look beyond the Northeast. So it's packaging. It's something I never thought I'd be doing when I was taking all these challenging courses in college, but it's exciting. And for us, it's companies. You know, it's the entire spectrum, whether it's the food companies, the Pollers of the world. We hope continue to invest in the Northeast. From a life science, and one of our challenges, if a customer is based here, but if they do the high volume manufacturing elsewhere, we've got to be prepared to roam around the country in order to support them. So that continues to be one of our challenges. So for us, the more successful Massachusetts is at attracting and helping focus on existing companies to grow, then the better off we're going to be, because that's our customer base here in the Northeast. So we have no expectations of leaving the Northeast, but from a growth perspective, we are going to look at acquisitions outside the Northeast. So that's it, and we'll be available for questions afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. I think what's very compelling in these conversations is the interdependence of businesses upon each other. Your company is dependent upon the manufacturing that then you package materials for, the products for. And clearly the supply side is also dependent, and our transportation industry is also dependent. Manufacturing comprises such a significant portion of our economy, and it isn't a standalone portion of our economy. It's an interconnected portion of our economy. Thank you for bringing that forward. I think that was very well said. The Boston Foundation in the last year produced a report. It's called Staying Power, a report card on manufacturing in Massachusetts in 2012. They wanted to know the reasons why manufacturers stay in Massachusetts and reasons why they decide to leave. Among the main reasons why they decide to stay is the work ethic. 55% indicate that the work ethic of people in our state is so strong that it's a compelling reason for them to stay, despite other factors that might lead them to leave. They also say that the future availability of appropriately skilled labor, 43% say that they stay because they believe that Massachusetts will, in fact, solve a problem that they currently face in terms of skilled workers. We know that there is a graying of the manufacturing workforce. It's projected that within 10 years, Massachusetts, without action, will have lost 1/3 of its skilled machinists. Those are critical issues that don't just impact the manufacturers in their industries. It impacts us all. Clearly, there are areas that will be addressed, you know, the issues of the new Obamacare, et cetera, and the health care costs. Those are factors. When Massachusetts stood alone in terms of its health initiative, Massachusetts may have been considered to be less attractive to manufacturers than perhaps we will be as we look at a more global national insurance agenda for health care. But that was a major. 84% said that healthcare costs might be a contributing reason for them to leave Massachusetts. So there are many reasons why we stay. I'd like to introduce right now Jack Healy, who was a prime partner with Quinsigamond Community College, along with others, in that NSF initiative that you heard about a little bit in the bio. Jack Healy is no stranger to the manufacturing side of the equation in our state. Jack Healy has served as the founding director of operations for the Massachusetts Manufacturing Extension Partnership, MassMEP, since its inception in 1999, way ahead of the curve. Prior to his current position, Jack served as managing partner of the Wellesley Consulting Group, president of Presmet Corporation, and senior vice president of Lego Systems. Jack serves as a director on several boards, including Board of Directors, Providence and Worcester Railroad Company, Seven Hills Foundation, Worcester, Mass., Massachusetts Workforce Investment Board, National Coalition for Advanced Manufacturing, Washington, D.C., Alliance for Manufacturing Excellence, New England Region, Central Mass Regional Employment Board, Worcester, Mass. So Jack, you have a lot to tell us. Thanks. Come on up.
Roberta told me I had 10 minutes, and that's why I did the slides. Otherwise, I might have gone on a few minutes more, but that's not part of my 10 minutes. At first, I'd like to address the public perception of manufacturing, that manufacturing is gone, is dying, and it's no longer here. In metropolitan Worcester area, which is essentially the southern Worcester County, manufacturing is here. It's the most significant sector, it's the most significant contribution to gross state product in the metropolitan area here. And that like one.
Okay, Mr. Healy, excuse me.
I'll close it for you.
Okay. This is not part of my 10 minutes either.
Now you have 12.
Okay. The next slide would have said, the manufacturing gross state product is in the metropolitan Worcester area is 16.9%. That's substantially above the state average and substantially above the national average. If you took just private investment, manufacturing's contribution to gross state product in the southern Worcester area is 19.4%. And when you consider that in the past 10 years since 13 years since the Mass MEP has been in business, we've lost over 75% of our largest manufacturers in the state. Manufacturers over 1,000 employees. We lost 60% of the manufacturers over 500 employees. As the gentleman here said before, our Massachusetts is a high cost of doing business state. And consequently, many of the larger companies have options and can make decisions to do some business elsewhere. We are now the 51st largest metropolitan area in terms of manufacturing in the country. We used to be number 53. The Worcester area, if you look at GDP, they keep making corrections every time you turn around. There's another correction. So you have to look at it over a long period of time. And if you looked at it from 2001 to 2011, the Worcester GDP compounded annual growth is 3.30. Massachusetts was 2.22. Hartford was 1.95, and Springfield 1.65, and Providence 0.52. We've gone essentially in this period of time, what that means, we've gone from about $3 billion to a little over $5 billion in the metropolitan Worcester area. Thanks to companies such as ABBVIE. ABBVIE.
Happy.
ABBVIE, thank you. We're ranked 15th nationally. 10.9% of our total jobs are in manufacturing. And that is the 15th largest metropolitan area in terms of percentage of manufacturing jobs to total jobs. We're ranked 30th nationally with 23.3% as a percentage of very high-tech jobs. And that, I think, when you look at the very high-tech jobs, those jobs pay in the average, according to Brookings Institute, about $100,000. The Massachusetts, so I just wanted to let you know that manufacturing is here, all right, and it's growing and has continued to grow and hopefully will grow in the future. The Massachusetts Manufacturing Extension Partnership, our mandate is to work with the small manufacturer. The small manufacturer in government terms are companies under 500 employees. 72% of our firms in this state are under 20 employees. That's close to 5,000 firms. And these are 91% of our firms in the state, manufacturing firms, are under 100 employees. Manufacturing in the state is a high-value added business. And many of these firms have produced very good products, technical products, that has supported the growth of our export industry from what used to be at the turn of this century about $14 billion to close to $28 billion today. The Massachusetts works to connect small manufacturing enterprises to new processes and network of resources. We have people such as President Carberry's school, Kathy Wrench, who's in this room, has worked diligently to get the state Department of Education to approve applied training to be given as college credits. So now you can go through an applied training program that we can provide, and that you'll get 26 credits for this program. And then you can go to QUINSIGAMOND through a distance learning program and finish the remainder of your credits. And so it enables people to have a job and to get a college degree. I thought that was a remarkable achievement. There were 500 pages that the Department of Education had to sign off individually related to that training, and Kathy was the only one that had the guts enough to go through that whole process. We also have people in this room like Lou Gaviglia and Mass Development. These are the partners that we try to bring to these small manufacturers and try to get them to enable them to be competitive and to grow. The Mass MEP works with small manufacturers. The small manufacturers that we work with, after we leave them, a year after we leave them, an outside agency surveys them. The outside agency that surveys them reports back to NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and we get the reports. I'm summarizing the reports from our beginning to now, more to show you what the contribution of small manufacturers are. Excuse me. In that period of time, the small manufacturing community has created over 3,000 jobs, all right, and retained about 1,100 jobs. That they've increased sales over $1 billion, and this is only a snapshot at one point in time. This is not a longitudinal study. And that they had invested $396 million, and they experienced cost savings of about $200 million. More importantly, they contributed, that summary of that work contributed about $6.72 billion in economic output and about almost $3 billion in gross state product. $261 million is something most of you people are interested in. That's the contribution to state taxes. What I'm trying to say is that this small manufacturing enterprise community is a very significant sector in our state. They employ over 50% of the people in manufacturing, and they make a very, very substantial contribution. Because they're so small, they don't have any visibility, don't have a voice, and one of the things that comes as a surprise to people, the general publics, that manufacturing is still here, and it's not only here, it's growing. So, thank you very much.
As Jack indicated, Partnerships and alliances are key to our ability to ensure a quality workforce here in central Massachusetts and statewide. 2 years ago, Quinsigamond Community College stepped up and secured a $20 million grant from the Department of Labor specific to workforce development issues. Quinsigamond is the lead for 15 community colleges in the state, and one of the prime areas that the community colleges have stepped up on is advanced manufacturing. Not every one of the 15 community colleges in Massachusetts has a focus in advanced manufacturing, but those that do are now sharing that curriculum with other institutions in the area. Additionally, our baccalaureate partners have worked with us in a very important way. Fitchburg State University and Quinsigamond Community College last year signed an articulation agreement bridging our manufacturing curriculum at Quinsigamond Community College to their industrial engineering pathway. It's important that we consider these issues as we look to the future of our economy. How does the education of our students support the economy of our region? Clearly, the vocational technical high schools have long been looked to by the manufacturing industry as prime partners. In this same Boston Foundation study, the proportion of Massachusetts manufacturers ranking institutions as very important or extremely important for training their future workers, vocational technical high schools were ranked 38.1% as very important or important. So clearly, our next speaker, Dr. SHEILA HARRITY, has much to contribute to this conversation. Dr. HARRITY is the principal of Worcester Technical High School. She has held that position since the opening of the new facility in 2006. Dr. HARRITY has a BA from Assumption College, another from Worcester State University. In 2013, she earned her doctoral degree in educational leadership from Northeastern University. And what a leader she is. Dr. HARRITY was selected in 1997 as Teacher of the Year for the Worcester Public Schools. She has been inducted into the Worcester Public Schools Athletic Hall of Fame, and she is a Massachusetts State Teacher of the Year semifinalist in 1998. Dr. HARRITY was recently selected as the National High School Principal of the Year for 2014 by the U.S. Department of Education. In September of 2013, her school received the National Blue Ribbon of Distinction for Outstanding Student Achievement. This is the latest recognition, we thought, for Worcester Technical High School, which has been regularly cited. And yesterday, I understand that Worcester Technical High School received the Prime Award from the Society of Manufacturing Engineers, one of only 11 schools nationally to be so recognized. So she will come up.
Thank you, Dr. Carberry. It's an honor to be here this morning and speak to you about the manufacturing program at Worcester Tech. And I feel like the manufacturing program is a microcosm of the transformation of our school. And as Dr. Carberry has said, we are a national blue ribbon school. The U.S. Secretary of Education selected 286 schools from across our country, from kindergarten all the way to grade 12, public, private, parochial, charter. And we were one of the 286, so we're so very proud to be on that list and be recognized for our student accomplishments, an incredible dedicated staff, but also I believe, and at our school we believe as well, that this is a community award, because we certainly could not have done any of the work that's being done on top of the hill on One Skyline Drive if it wasn't for our community that rallied around building a beautiful $90 million facility and equipping it with the latest and greatest of technology so that our students can succeed. Manufacturing at Worcester Tech, and I'm sure you will be nodding your head when I say this, we were dying on the vine. The perception of manufacturing was, it was a grease shop. It was a sweat factory that was low-paying jobs, and there was no career advancement. So unfortunately, our enrollment was continually going down. We are championed, when I call him our godfather, by Mr. Ted Coughlin, and he's the chair of our general advisory. And he oversees 350 business members that help us keep our finger on the pulse in regards to what business and industry is expecting. So at Worcester Tech, we didn't have the enrollment that we should to reflect what Jack Healy had just talked about, business and industry wanting our graduates. They were there to recruit our students for employment, yet we were not producing the next generation of workers. So we immediately gathered a group of subcommittee volunteers from Saint-Gobain, from Curtis Industries, from WPI, Quinsigamond Community College, and our friend Jack Healy and his members of Mass MEP. The first thing they told us was that we had a really nice museum. And that was an ouch. But it was a good ouch because it's really important, again, to keep our finger on the pulse. We had brought over the machinery from 70, 80, 90 years ago. Beautiful. And they were absolutely right. It was a museum. So Mr. Ted Coughlin worked with business and industry and immediately bought 2 Haas CNC machines so that we could start creating the clean room that we needed to produce the next generation of workers that would be filling the void for the precision manufacturers that were looking to recruit our students. The next thing we need to do as 9th graders, our students are exploring their technical programs. We have 24 technical programs, and it's a true active recruitment process. Well, we knew we need to do a few things. The first thing we need to do is talk to the parents, because no matter what, if their son or daughter or their child that they're raising comes home and says, I want manufacturing, they won't even allow their child in most cases to even sign up. So we sent a letter home to all 400 families of our freshmen talking about the change in the manufacturing area, and we also supplied charts and stats of career opportunities, the career ladder, and most importantly, salaries. Because obviously when you're graduating from high school or college, ultimately you go into the world of work, and families want to encourage their child to be graduating with employability skills. So that was the first component. The second component is we redesigned our exploratory program. We asked our partners that were at the table to work with us. The first thing we did is we showed Edge Factor, which is a very glitzy video about the new manufacturing industry, precision manufacturing. The second thing we did is we took the students on field trips, because seeing is believing. We brought the students every single week to WPI, to their Advanced Manufacturing Research Lab. In addition, we brought the students to NIPRO in Clinton on a weekly basis as well, so they could actually see what a clean lab looks like and where machining is going in central Massachusetts. Because of those important ingredients, I'm really proud to say we went from 34 students to 70 in the first year of students that wanted to pursue manufacturing. In addition, what we needed to do is reach out and create different opportunities for our students. So without authentic learning experiences, we really wouldn't be able to have the success that we do. And I think that's one of the, so many people say, how did Worcester Tech become so successful? It's creating opportunities for students to have authentic learning experiences that are project-based. So we made sure when we created our STEM Early Career and College Innovation Plan that we implemented 2 years ago, that we wanted to make sure that our seniors, if not all the students, had community projects. One of the projects that we worked on was with the mayor. Mayor Petty contacted us and said, Sheila, would you mind, could the machining students actually create the new key to the city? The original key to the city of Worcester was actually a beautifully manufactured brass key. But in its day, unfortunately, it evolved into, you called a trophy company, and people received a key to the city that was plastic that was sealed onto a plaque. So what an incredible opportunity for our students to showcase their skills, work on the CNC machines, and they actually reverse designed the entire process, and what an incredible opportunity. Even further, so our students at Worcester Tech are producing the keys to the city. The mayor invited us to City Hall, and to our surprise, he actually presented a key to each of our 11 students that are producing the keys to the city throughout the next generations to come. So what an incredible thrill. In addition, we were contacted by WPI, This is an incredible learning experience. WPI is one of 26 schools that were invited to compete in a world competition for zero-energy modular homes. The engineers had a great idea of how they were going to design it, but didn't have the skill set to build it. Well, we were thrilled, again, being part of that STEM innovation and subscribing to authentic learning projects and giving back to our community. Our students have worked alongside of the engineers from WPI, both students and professors, at the Coca-Cola plant, the former Coca-Cola plant on Shrewsbury Street, where our machining students, our welding students, electrical and plumbing students, and carpentry students, and we actually built the modular home with the assistance of WPI. Well, it's incredible when you give students opportunities like this, because in so many cases, high school students have a bad rap, or in some cases, people can be afraid of youth. But at Worcester Tech, because our students are so actively engaged in the community, they had done such an incredible job that WPI went out and received sponsorship from Saint-Gobain and National Grid to send 6 of our students with them to China for a 3-week experience. They took the modular home, disassembled it, WPI shipped it over in a boat, and our students were flown over with 2 professors, 2 of our instructors, to rebuild the modular home in Datong, China. Spent 3 weeks there experiencing the entire green energy competition that was worldwide. And in addition, WPI sent our students to Beijing, China for a cultural experience. What an incredible 3 weeks. Our next project, and I'm really happy to share with you, is actually the city manager had called and asked if we would renovate or rebuild, actually, refabricate the bridge at Elm Park. We said absolutely. We're working alongside of the engineers from WPI. Our students are learning about how to create permits and how to refabricate a very historical bridge. And I'm really proud to say, which the city manager just announced with the mayor last Friday at Elm Park, that they're going to dedicate this bridge to Myra Craft and in her memory once our students are finishing building it. And we were told that Mr. Craft is going to bring himself as well as the Patriots to our school in November, December, so they can actually witness our machining and carpentry students fabricate this bridge. And what an incredible way to give back to our community, because we are so blessed to have had the support of the community around us, the local political, the politicians, local and state, to fund our beautiful $90 million facility, and our 350 business partners and community activists, as well as parents. We're thrilled, and this is just the beginning in regards to what we can do as a community and how our students and our staff can pay you back for the investment that you made in us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. There are currently 4 or 5 vocational technical high schools in our greater region, all of them stepping up, and clearly Worcester Technical High School, the gem of the gem, teaching others how to engage in best practice. And thank you so much for all the leadership that you bring to that wonderful school.
Thanks for watching this latest forum from the Worcester Regional Research Bureau, presented on Charter TV3 by Commerce Bank. At Commerce Bank, we're all about community. Our commitment to the communities we serve begins at our front door.